At Hashem, Parachat Tisa. In this week's parasha, right, the parasha starts about giving the kofer, giving the shkalim, giving the tzedakah, kofer nafsho, that Am Yisrael had to give. In the middle of the parasha, right, we start reading about Chet HaEgel, right, the golden calf, that some people in the Jewish camp worship the golden calf. Okay, so it says over here that Moshe Rabbeinu at that time was in Har Sinai, and he's receiving the Torah, and Vayiten el Moshe kechaloto ledaber ito be'Har Sinai shne luchot ha'edut. The Midrash says something very interesting. The minute is finishing to learn the Torah, because the whole thing was for 40 days, and the miscalculation was 6 hours. Am Yisrael was missing 6 hours, as Rashi says. He told them, I'm coming back in 40 days. So they thought that the day went up, by daytime is included, but Rashi says since the night before was not included, so they needed 6 hours to wait 6 hours more, and he would come the next day. So there was a miscalculation over here. Meanwhile, Moshe is finishing off to receive the Torah, to receive all the secrets of the Torah, whatever Hashem wants to give him in 40 days. And as everything is happening, it says that Hashem is giving him the luchot, and right away Hashem wants to take it back, says the Midrash. And then Moshe says, why? He says, Lech red, go down fast. They're in the middle of doing Avodah Zarah. Amcha, it's your people, right? Because he brought the Erev Rav, right? Hashem told him not to bring the Erev Rav to the Jewish camp and to take him out of Egypt. And Moshe says just the opposite. It's Kiddush Hashem. It's going to be goyim. They're going to convert. And just they're the one pushing the Egel Hazav. So what happened was Lech red. Hashem is telling him Tered. So Moshe says, okay, I'm going to go down, but give me this Luchot HaBrit. So says Hashem, no. Why do you need Luchot HaBrit? They don't make Avodah Zarah. They don't need Luchot HaBrit. And the Midrash says, כביכול they were fighting. Hashem moshech mitzad, ומשה moshech mitzad, and כביכול Moshe gavar. The Midrash says, אילו לא נאמר, if it wasn't be written, משה יכול להגיד עליו, כנגד הקדוש ברוך הוא גבר? How do you understand that? But this is what the Midrash says. Moshe gavar, he grabbed the luchot, right? He grabbed the luchot, ורץ למטה. He started to run downstairs with the luchot. ויהי כאשר קרב על המחנה, when he gets close to the camp and he sees עגל הזהב, מה הוא קיווה? הוא קיווה, he was hoping, if they see him, oh, מחילה, סליחה, we're sorry, we didn't know, we thought you disappeared, we thought we're not going to have a leader anymore, so we wanted to have a leader. And they continue to dance, and they continue to laugh. אתם ממשיכים. אז הקדוש ברוך הוא צדק, הקדוש ברוך הוא was right, שיפר את הלוחות, he broke the tablets, נכון? Over here, it says, when he got the luchot, or when he grabbed the luchot, ויהי ככלותו לדבר איתו בהר סיני, ויתן משה ככלותו. Rashi brings, Chazal, כתוב ככלתו. ככלותו, when he finished studying, he gave it to him לכלות. Like we say, ויחולו השמיים והארץ, ויחולו. כן? So when the creation was finished, ביום השביעי, אשר עשה, מקום מלאכתו אשר עשה, ככלותו should have been written כף כף וו למד תף וו, and it's written כף כף למד. It's missing a vav. So without the points, if you read it in the Torah, then המילה נראית ככלתו, כמו כלה. What does it mean? Hashem gave Moshe Rabbeinu את לוחות הברית ככלה לחתן. כן? So Rashi says, מה זה כלה לחתן? מה הדמיון? What's the comparison, כלה לחתן? Rashi says, because it was impossible to learn the whole Torah in 40 days. How can you learn the Torah in 40 days? And Moshe Rabbeinu was learning the whole Torah, Pardes, Pshat, Remesh, Drash, Sod, מה שתלמיד עתיד לחדש. How can you learn in 40 days, right? אלא איך בזמן מועט כזה? So he gave him, because Hashem gave it to him, like a kala. He gave him to kala, right? Another pshat Rashi brings, מה כלה מתקשטת בכף ד' קישוטים. The Gemara says, when you get married to your wife, right? a כלה מקבלת בזמן הנישואים 24 תכשיטים. You have to buy a wife from times and times jewelry. At the end of, after 120, 24 pieces. Can be a ring, can be a bracelet, earrings, a chain, whatever.
להלכה?
They said, לכתחילה, I should try.
24.
Yeah, 24 pieces, right? You have a whole lifetime, right? Together to buy her. So, כמו כלה מתקשטת ב-24 קישוטים, right? So in the Torah there is 24 books. Torah, Nevi'im, Ketuvim, and you count all the Nevi'im, you count all the Ketubim, right? Yeshaya, Yirmiyah, Yechezkel, all those books together is 24 books. Okay? That's Pshat of Rashi. So, the Baal HaTurim, he adds one thing. The Baal HaTurim, right, he says like this. Why Shnei Luchot? Lama Shnei Luchot? Hashem couldn't write the Aseret HaDiborot on one luach? On one piece? Why does it have to be 5 and 5? Why can't it be one big luach and 10? What are 2, right? So the Baal HaTurim says like this. Shnei Luchot keneged shamayim va'aretz. There's shamayim, there's aretz. Okay? Keneged chatan ve'kala. You have chatan, you have kala. So you have shnei luchot habrit, right? So, what does it have to do shamayim va'aretz? Chatan ve'kala. Okay, so Rashi says already, kechaloto, kekalato, okay? As הוא אומר, the Baal HaTurim adds that that's the reason we have 2 luchot habrit, keneged chatan ve'kala, which are 2, so chatan ve'kala. Okay. It says like this. I saw one of the Pirushim, it says like this. He says that Rashi brings down in Bereshit, why does it say Yom HaShishi Vayichulu HaShamayim Va'aretz V'chol Tzavam? Why HaShishi? The same thing you say Yom Rishon, Yom Sheni, Yom Shlishi, Yom Revi, Yom Chamishi, Yom Shishi. Okay? Why does it say Yom HaShishi Vayichulu HaShamayim Va'aretz on the 6th day? Right? Lomar Lecha, we're talking about Shishi, a 6th special day, which is Shishi B'Sivan. On the 6th B'Sivan, we got the Torah. Which year was it? The year 2448 Libriat Olam. Right? 2448. Now, when Hashem created the world, He made it night Babriya, in the creation. When Am Israel is going to be becoming a nation, they're going to come out of Egypt, and they're going to go to Har Sinai, if they accept the Torah, we leave the world as is. ואם לא יקבלו את התורה, הקדוש ברוך הוא הופך הכל תוהו ובוהו. Everything goes back. So, 2448 years, the world was על תנאי. came יום השישי, יום מיוחד, because on that day נקבע, it was fixed that are you keeping the world or not? And Am Yisrael, Baruch Hashem, said, Naaseh v'nishma. Right? So that's why it says Yom HaShishi, Yom HaMiyuchad, HaShishi HaMiyuchad, Vav B'Sivan, the 6th of Sivan. Right? So it says that always, right? Always you need Shamayim Va'aretz. Now, why? Shamayim Va'aretz are going to be Edim, they're going to be the witnesses that we accepted the Torah, and we accomplished the Torah, and Chas if not, they're going to be also Edim. Like in Parachat Ha'azinu Hashamayim Va'dabera, V'tishma Haaretz Refi, says Rashi, Atem tiyu Edim badavar. You be the witnesses, because you depend on Am Yisrael. The kiyum, right, the existence of the Shamayim Va'aretz. Comes the Arugat HaBosem, and he brings down the Bel Zerav, and he brings down from the Bel Zerav, he's asking the following question, right? He says, the end of Masechet Nida, right? The end of Masechet Nida, he says, we say a passage like this. We say it every day. Kol hashoneh halachot b'chol yom, muftach lo shu ben olam haba. Whoever learns halachot every day, he's promised that he's ben olam haba. Shenemar alichot olam lo, al tikri alichot. The Bel Zerav asked the question, what does this have to do with Masechet Nida? Why Chachamim? This is the end of Shas, okay? But what is Sheikh Masechet Nida? Masechet Nida is what? You have to know when you can be close to your wife and when you cannot be close to your wife, right? What does it have to do in the end? We're finishing off. Alachot b'chol yom, muftach lo shu ben haba. Kipshuto, it has nothing to do with Masechet Nida, right? So the Bel Zerav said the following thing. He says, with your own wife, right? There's certain times you can be close to her, and certain times you have to be a little bit, keep distance from her, right? When she's nida, you cannot be close to your wife. You have to keep distance, right? You have to keep away from her. He says the same thing about Torah. In the Torah, you always try to be as close as possible to Torah. What's close? Amkut. You have to be mit'amek b'Torah. he says that the best thing is to reach. If somebody can reach a madriga of sod, it's a big thing. You reach the Sodot Torah. That's what Moshe Rabbeinu was learning in Har Sinai. So really, you try to get as deep as possible in Torah. But certain times, you feel like you're away from the Torah, right? You feel you cannot learn for some reason. You don't have cheshek to do mitzvot. You feel like you're away. But he says, the Belzer Rav says, even those times, who is running the house? The wife. She's running the house. So he says, even in the times you feel you cannot be close to the Torah, you should know that Torah is running your life. Right? So what you should do, he says, you should be learning dvarim not so deep, but have a kesher with the Torah. You should have a connection with the Torah. Right? So he says, why did we choose to finish off Kol HaShoneh Halachot B'chol Yom? If you cannot learn Sod, if you cannot learn deep things, take a kitzur Shulchan Aruch and start learning. Take a kitzur, you have to put tefillin, you have to put... So he says, this dvarim pshutim doesn't make a difference. It's a connection to the Torah. It keeps you connected to the Torah. So it's like a husband and a wife. They cannot be close, right? But there's a connection. Why? Because she runs the house. Like Hashem is telling Avraham, Kol asher tomar alecha Sarah, shema bekola. You have to listen to her. She's running the house. So you have a connection still to your wife. Though you cannot be too close, we have a connection to the Torah, even in the times we don't feel close. Sometimes we don't feel close to the Torah. Like, you don't have cheshek. Sometimes a person is losing the cheshek to learn, right? He's tired, or he doesn't want to do the mitzvah, right? Keep a connection. Always be connected to the Torah, right? The Zohar Chaim HaKadosh, right? In Parachat Acharei Mot, the Zohar Chaim HaKadosh says, ובקוצרכם את קציר ארצכם. The Chaim HaKadosh כותב שם, he writes over there, sometimes a person is over avera shechayev bakaret. Chas v'shalom. He's doing ochel b'yom HaKippurim. He ate on Yom Kippur. Ochel chametz b'Pesach. The Torah says beferish chayev karet. If somebody did that, what should he say now? Oh, karet, that's it. he's disconnected from the Jewish people. Says the Chaim HaKadosh, ובקוצרכם את קציר ארצכם, even if you cut the connection, קצירה is like cutting from the ground, the wheat from the ground. ובקוצרכם את קציר ארצכם, you should still feel connected. You know why? Because the roshem of the Jewish soul is still there. And you can take these two strings and connect them together back. Never a neshama can be away from the Kadosh Baruch Hu. Even if it's over karet, and Kadosh Baruch Hu says, that's it, I cut him off from the tree of life, right? He explains in another parsha, how do you connect to HaKadosh Baruch Hu? In the nostrils, of the two nostrils, you have two strings that go to Shamayim, and this is how you connect to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And what's karet? HaKadosh Baruch Hu cuts the string. So it says, but the two strings are there, the Roshem is there. All you have to do is to take the two strings and reconnect them. He says, never a Neshama Vayit is, right? And there's a famous story with the Ramban. The Ramban, he had a Talmud, this Yatsa, he became Apikoros. Right? After many years, the Rambam didn't see him. They met, and he was ochel. He was eating b'Yom HaKippurim, and he was ochel chazir. He was eating pork on Yom HaKippurim. So he asked the Ramban, "How many avrot I'm doing now?" So the Ramban told him 5, 6, 7. He says no, and they started to argue in Torah. He brought him because he was a big Talmid Chacham. He didn't forget his Torah. So the Ramban told him, "Chazor becha." Come back. Why'd you go this way? Come back. He told them, you said something and this threw me off. What did I say? He told them, you told us in a shir that in Parashat Azinu, you can find all the name of the Jewish people that they're ever born. They're born, they're been born, they're going to be born. He says, Ken. He says, I was looking for years, I didn't find my name. And he went off the terech. So the Ramban told them, if I prove it to you, that your name is the parasha, you're going to be chozer b'tshuva? He said, yeah, if you prove it to me, I go chozer. So it says, he went on the side, he started davening to Hashem, גל עיניי והביטה נפלא מתורתך, זה נשמה יהודית, צריך להחזיר אותו. תראה איזה תלמיד חכם, he's able to still argue with me how many avirot he's doing Yom Kippur eating chazir. Imagine if he comes back. Okay? So he davened to Hashem, and Hashem showed him a pasuk in Parashat Azinu, Amarti afehem, כן? Ashbita me'enosh zichra. He told them every third letter in this pasuk is your name. Amarti, what was his name? His name is Avner. So he says, Amarti is Rabbi. The third letter is Resh. Amar Resh, Ti, Rabbi. Af-em, the third letter is Aleph. Ashbita, the third letter is Bet. Me'enosh, Nun. Zichram, third letter is Chaf. Avner, Resh, Avner. And Rabbah told them, not only it says Avner, it says Rabbi Avner. There's a Resh before. There's a Rabbi Avner. Wow, he was fascinated. They say he took a boat and they never found this Talmid. They don't know what happened with him. But the Rambam was able להחזיר אותו בתשובה, as far as he was. So you see the Jewish soul is always a connection, but we should know you can never disconnect from the Torah. And the only way to keep connected, according to Bozer Rav, is what? In the zmanim that you feel you're not connected, learn something light. What? Kol hashana halachot, tilmad halachot, take a kitzur shulchan aruch. Right? He said, but this is not limud, it's just reading. It doesn't make a difference. This is your connection. Right? So wherever you go, right? So they say, you should try to learn Mishnayot Baal Peh, you should try to do stuff that even when at Yadu Rav Ovadia, whenever he used to go somewhere, always you would see him. So they asked the Shamash, what he says, he's reciting Mishnayot Baal Peh. He's saying, so when he used to travel, to go to the kotel, to give a shir, to go to somewhere, היה תמיד משנן משניות. והגית בו יומם ולילה. והגית בו יומם ולילה. So though it says, לא ימוש ספר התורה הזה מפיך, right? And it says that the Torah is like ככלותו, כמו כלה. What does it mean ככלותו? Now I understand what Rashi says. He gave the Torah like a כלה. מה זה כלה? כלה אתה יכול לפעמים להיות איתה, you can be together, and sometimes you have to be separate, right? But even if you separate, הכל מתנהל על פיה, ולא ימוש ספר התורה הזה מפיך. You should continue learning the Torah. And that's the dimion, shamayim va'aretz, that the Baal HaTurim is saying. Why is he saying, why tu luchot habrit, shamayim va'aretz? Because sometimes you can be a madriga of shamayim, which is gadlut mochin, and sometimes you can be a madriga of aretz, which is katlut mochin. But you're still connected. They are the edim. They are the edim. This is shnei luchot habrit. So you have to know there's always a connection to Torah. We always have to feel connection to Torah. A person cannot be disconnected. So the Baal Shem Tov used to say, נבזה בעיניו נמאס. מה זה? מי יעלה בהר השם, מי יקום קודשו, נקי כפיים, בלבב, כן, נבזה בעיניו. אומר הבעל שם טוב, אם אתה נבזה בעיניך, אתה נמאס בעיני הקדוש ברוך הוא. למה? מישהו שנבזה בעיניו, if you feel, oh, I'm not good, I'm not מצליח, I'm not this, what's going to happen? You're going to leave the Torah. אתה תעזוב את התורה בסוף. הקדוש ברוך הוא מואס אותך, הוא לא רוצה. אני לא צריך אנשים כאלה. Always you should feel, okay, אז לא במדרגה גבוהה, okay, lower level, but you're part of the Jewish people. Yeah. You're part of the Jewish people. So a person should never throw himself away. Basically, you're throwing yourself away. It's not, no one throws you away from the Jewish people, right? You're throwing yourself. So always you should feel connected, right? חתן וכלה, תורה זה כלה. ככל לא אותו דבר איתו. And that's why Hashem at the end, he was pulling from one end, says the Midrash, and Moshe was pulling from the other end. And Moshe גבר. למה גבר? הוא הראה לקדוש ברוך הוא, even if you want to take away the Torah, I'm going to overtake it. This is the Midrash, the Amkut of the Midrash, that Moshe Rabbeinu showed to Hashem, even though he wants to take away the Torah from Am Israel, we are still gover, right? And that's the Gemara says in Chagiga, that was the mistake of Acherim. What was the mistake of Acherim? He heard the bat call, right? שובו בנים שואבים חוץ מאחר. אחר לא מקבלים אותו, כן? So the Gemara says, היה לו טעות, למה? כל מה שאומר לך בעל הבית תעשה, חוץ מצא. If the בעל הבית, זה הריבונו של עולם אומר לך, צא מהעולם, אני לא רוצה אותך, I don't want you to be Jewish, לא תשמע לו, לא תצא, right? and אחר יהיה את בת קול, ניסו אותו, ואמר לו, כולם יחזרו בתשובה חוץ מאחר. אז הוא אמר, חוץ ממני, אז אני לא צריך להיות יהודי. אז הוא התחיל לבכור, לא שבת, לא כיפור, not nothing, right? חס ושלום. That was a test for him. So he should be gover, like Moshe Rabbeinu, he grabbed the luchot at the last minute. הקדוש ברוך הוא אומר לו, but לך שיחת עמך, they're doing עבודה זרה. doesn't make it, they קוראים עובד עבודה זרה, I'm still going to bring the Torah to them. בכל זאת הוא רצה להביא להם את התורה, שבר את הלוחות, כן? אבל לא משנה, לפחות הוא הביא את זה. He brought them, he showed them, תראו מה הבאתי לכם, לא מגיע לכם. But he knew that Hashem is going to be able to bring new luchot. So that Hashem, we should try and מקרב every Yehudi, but first before every Yehudi ourselves.
Amen, amen.
right first you encourage yourself to the Kutcha Brichu. Amen ve'amen.